this is Estlin. Welcome back, fishies. You know, this is the month of March, and this is where I get the fishies from because I'm a Pisces. For all my Pisces out there today, I'm going to make a caramel sauce. I have 1/3 cup of water here. Then I'm going to dump in 3/4 cup of sugar. Now I'm just going to let that dissolve. I have a couple of tools here. I have my spatula and my whisk, but I'm just going to take the spatula and just get the sugar all in the water so it can dissolve down. Once this starts dissolving down, I'll increase the heat. But for now, we're just going to let this dissolve. I'm going to make it. I made a couple of little cakes. I have a little, it's like a cupcake pan, but it's for little cakes. And I made a couple of those. See, this is the pan that I made the cakes in. And these are the cakes that I made. And the brownies, they were still warm. That's why I had them sitting on this tray. I didn't want to burn the counter. But yeah, see, I have the brownies here. And I'm going to just take and pour caramel over them, but I'm going to make the caramel sauce. Now, you have to let this dissolve slowly. You don't want to try to rush it. It's dissolving, but it's dissolving slowly. You don't want to rush it. It's going to take a minute. But you know what? You're going to have some of the most delicious caramel sauce. And I also have some butter here. Now, there's the thing. They say use unsalted butter, then you add salt, okay? I use salted butter, and I taste it before I add any more salt. So you can use the unsalted butter if you like. And then I have a third of a cup of heavy cream. This is the heavy cream. And then I'm going to put in a 1/2 teaspoon of vanilla. And like I said, if it's not too salty, I'm going to put in a couple, grinds of the sea salt. Like I said, we're just waiting on this to dissolve. Now, once this dissolves and it caramelizes, once this gets the caramel color, things are going to go really, really fast. Real fast. Just so it'll look like it's sticking, but it's not. And I normally use a gold pan. And the last time I used the gold pan, I almost took my caramel to the edge too far because it was the same color as the pan. And I couldn't really tell, how dark it was getting. But I caught it right at the edge. I mean, it was almost scorched. But yeah, see how this is melting? I'm going to let you guys see a little bit how the sugar, see how the sugar is dissolving in the water? But yeah, you have to let it like dissolve slowly. You can't rush it, or else your sugar, it won't dissolve all the way. But yeah, we're going to make a caramel sauce, and then we're just going to pour it over top of the brownies and over the cakes. And I'm going to show you a little trick that I learned watching, I think it was Food Network I saw it on. I'm not sure exactly where I saw it. But I did see this little trick that I'm going to show you guys. And how's your guys' weather there? Just to change it up for a minute. Now, our weather here is yo-yoing. Okay, it's going 70, 60s, 30s, 40s, back up to 70s. Now it's down to, the 60s. This weather doesn't know what it want to do. But, like I said, I'm not going to complain because we don't have the S word. We don't have that fluffy stuff. No, and I am not going to complain. Places in the United States that normally don't get the fluffy stuff, they have that fluffy stuff, yes. And see, this is dissolving nicely because you can tell, you can almost see the bottom of the pan is green. And like I said, once this gets dissolving really good, it's almost all the way dissolved. I'm going to scrape the sides a little bit. I think, see, now can you tell? I believe that's all dissolved. Now, can you guys see that the sugar is all dissolved in there? Can you see that? Now, this is what we're going to do now. I'm going to turn the heat up. I'm going to turn the fire up. We're going to turn it up. Turn it up to a high heat. Because you want that to start bubbling and caramelizing. I'm going to rinse my spatula off because I touched it with my hand. Okay, now, with this here, they just say do it like this. Swirl it around. Like I said, it's going to start bubbling. It's going to start boiling. Once that gets to a certain consistency of a golden color, once I add the vanilla, the butter, and the cream, oh, it is going to go quick. The first time I did it, I panicked. I panicked the first time I did it. It was a big mess. But I tried it again. It took like 3 tries for me to get it right. I didn't freak out every time I put in the butter and the cream because it bubbled up so quick. I thought it was going to come out the pan. And it was just a mess. I took it off of the fire too long and it got all hard. And, oh, it was just a terrible mess. But I've learned how to do it a little bit better over the years. Well, not years. Yeah, last year or so. First time I tried to make my own caramel. But yes, you have to do it on a high heat. And then second time I didn't have the heat high enough. So yeah, you have to kind of watch it and adjust and swirl it around. It's going to eventually get a amber color, a gold color. It takes about 10 minutes. Because I used to set the timer to do it. Like I said, it took about 10 minutes for it to get a golden color before you add anything in it. That's just the sugar and the water. Caramelization of the sugar and water. Now, I've made caramel cakes before. That's where the caramel is in the batter, but this is just like a frosting. I don't want anything too thick, but you can make the caramel and you can add it to your whipped cream, like a buttercream. Like a caramel whipped cream frosting. But no, I'm not going to do that. You just have to keep this circular moving around because you don't want it to stick. You want it to thicken up. It doesn't look like it, but it is thickening up some. Just have to keep it in motion. Yep, just keep it in motion. Now, I know some of you probably will buy it. But like I said, I like to control what's in my food now. They'll tell you no sugar in it, and they have over 50 different names for sugar. And then you'll say, oh, this is no sugar. And you know what? It has sugar in it. Some type of sugar. So it's best if I just try to control it. I know I put in 3/4 cup, but I'm controlling it. I'm not putting in other preservatives and other stuff in there. And you see it's darkening up just a little bit, just a tad now. And this is how you start to make candy also, with the water and the sugar. We'll have to have an episode on making some candy, some hard candy. Now, you want it to bubble up like that. Guys, if you can tell, see that? You bubble it up like that. I can't take it off of the fire to show you up close, so because I want to keep the heat consistent. But once, like I said, once it caramelizes and turns an amber color, I'll take it off the heat to add the other things, and you will see the nice color. And like I said, a couple times I thought it seized up. It didn't. I just didn't know exactly what I was doing. So yeah, this is thickening up. It's going to be nice caramel sauce. And when you're doing your caramel sauce, do not leave it. Do not walk away. Start doing other things. I've done that before. Like I said, I've learned my lesson. Some things you cannot walk away from. And caramel sauce is one of them. On Food Network, can't tell you how many times I've seen them burn it, walking away from it. Or taking it too far to the edge because they couldn't get to it and didn't have enough time to remake it. Keep it in motion. Keep it in motion. Thickening up. Like I said, when it gets an amber color, the dark brown, medium brown, that's when I'll add the other things. Now, it depends on how dark you like the caramel. You want it light, you know, you don't take it as far. Some people like dark caramel. I like mine kind of in the middle, kind of in between, not really dark. And not really thin. I mean light. Yes, and what I'm gonna do? No, I'm not gonna eat it all. I'm gonna put it in my food saver bag here. You know, brand name food saver. Yes, I'm gonna put it in that, and that way, if I have company or when I have company, because I do know a couple of Pisces, and I do believe I'm gonna see a couple of them this month, later on in the month, and that way I can give them a little treat, give them the option of a treat. I'll just take it out the freezer before they come, and that way maybe make up some whipped cream and put on top for them. Or they might be like me, trying to watch what they're eating. But you know what? You got to treat yourself every now and then. Every now and then. Even the strictest of people cheat every now and then. They treat themselves every now and then. Yes, this is thickening up. Can you tell how? See, it's not as thin as it was. It's thickening up. Yep, I wanted to get a amber color. It's getting there. It is getting there. Yes, it is. It's going to be a beautiful amber color, like a brown color almost, caramel. But like I said, I got to keep this moving. I have to keep it on a high heat. They do not recommend stirring it. They recommend swishing it, swirling it, or kind of like what I'm doing, just keeping it in motion. I don't know why they don't want you to stir it, but yes. I'm just now waiting on it to get the amber color. Now it's just darkening up. It's thick. And I'm just waiting for it to get the color. And like I said before, I used the whole pan, and I couldn't tell when it was almost the right color because it's the same color as the pan. I know I'm making a lot of noise shaking it around, but you know what? That's what happens sometimes when you have to make some noise to get a good product. And this is the way that I know how to do it. Oh yeah, it's thickening up. It's getting an amber color also. It's getting there. It's getting there. Yes, it is. Like I said, once it gets to the amber color, things are going to go very, very, very fast. And I hope you guys don't freak out like I did the first time I did it. I'm not afraid to admit, I'm not ashamed to admit it. I freaked out that first time. Then the second time, I didn't have the heat high enough, so it didn't start boiling right. So you live and you learn. And no, I couldn't eat the first two. No, they were unedible. But luckily I had enough to do it over. But I don't like wasting stuff like that. But sometimes it happens. Sometimes it does happen. You know, so that's why I learned to stay and keep my eye on the ball. Well, on the caramel sauce. Yep, see it's thickening up. Can you see it's getting there? It's getting an amber color. A few more minutes here, it's getting there. Now 10 to 12, you know, everybody's different. Everybody's stove is different, you know, so like I said, it's getting that color though. It's getting that nice amber color that I would like. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it, once it gets to that color, I'm going to pour it. Once my caramel's done, I'm going to pour it in this measuring cup. That way it's just a little bit easier for me to pour it over my cakes and over the brownies. So, like I said, I don't really like wasting stuff. So I'm going to show you a trick. I don't know exactly where I saw that. I don't know if I saw it on Food Network or one of the other cooking channels or one of the cooking shows or where I saw it, but I saw it. And I was like, that's something I need to remember. Now, guys, can you see it's turning an amber color? Yeah, it's getting, like I said, I want to keep it on the fire. But you guys can see. See how it's darkening up? It's not translucent like it was. Oh yeah. And the smell. It smells so good. Just the sugar and the water. It smells good. It's got like a sweet, a little bit sweet. Now, they make like bourbon caramel sauces and all that. I haven't tried any of those liquor sauces. Not yet. I haven't, but... And you know what? Maybe next time we might put in some juice. Maybe like after the caramel's made, maybe add in maybe some blackberry. Some blackberry caramel. Oh, I love blackberries. Blackberry caramel would be delicious. Now, you guys see how it's getting to that amber color? Can you see it? It's getting there. I'm going to let mine get a little bit darker. I want a little bit richer color in it. Like I was telling you guys, once I start adding the other ingredients, it's going to go really, really, really quick. So now, I need to keep shaking this, but I need to get my vanilla ready. Oh, it smells really good. It's starting to smell like caramel, you guys. So I'm going to need a half a teaspoon of vanilla. So I'm going to get that ready. Like I was telling you guys, once this get to the amber to where I need it, things are going to go snap, snap, snap. Really, really, really quick. You have to be quick. Just like when you're making some dishes, you got to really be quick with it. Now, can you smell that? Oh my goodness. That is smells so good. Now this is almost at the color that I needed at. Almost at that amberous color that I needed. Just a little bit darker. A little bit darker because I want my caramel. Or caramel. Which one is it? I want to have a rich color. That's what I like, a rich color. Now, it's almost that color. It's almost. Can you guys see that? See that rich color? I'm going to let it get a little bit richer. Just a tad bit. Tad bit richer. Okay, now, turn the fire down. Okay, now this part here, guys, it's going to go really quick. So, this part here, I got to get it back to boiling like it was. But this next part is going to go really, really quick. Okay, now I got to put in the butter. Like I was saying, I got to put in the butter and the vanilla. Now it's going quick now. You see how that is? Now I got to hurry up and put in this heavy cream. Now look at it. It looks like it's seasoned up. This is where I freaked out the first time. I don't want you guys to freak out like I did. Now you see how it's coming back? See, I didn't keep stirring it the last time. I just freaked out and it just seized up. But you see, then you put it back over the low heat. Back over the low heat to get it mixed so you get your caramel sauce. Now look at that. Isn't that beautiful? That looks just so good. I'm making sure all the butter is melted. Now, that's why I put it back over the low heat really quick to make sure that it's all melted. Now, see, there's some still on the whisk. I'm just trying to get that off, melted. Oh, can you smell that caramel? Man, doesn't that smell delicious? Now, I'm going to it's on a very, very low heat. That's just how I'm trying to get it off of some stuck to the whisk. I'm just going to try to get that off. Moving this out the way. Now, I have just a little bit left in there. I'm just going to try to get that out, mix that in. Now, you notice, like I said, that went quick, very fast, very, very fast. Looked like it seized up on me, but it didn't. But, here, let me get a little taste. This is hot. This is very hot. Very, very hot. Oh, that's so delicious. Man, that is so good. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add just a couple sea salt. Just a little bit of my Himalayan pink sea salt. Just a couple. You know how that's sweet and salty in there? Give that a little squirt. Here, let me move some of this out. And I know I need to be stirring that, but trying to move some of this stuff out of the way really quick that we don't need anymore. Okay, now let me get this stirring up. We don't need this these measuring spoons anymore. Okay, now. Can you guys smell that buttery caramel? You smell that? Smell-o-vision. You look at that nice rich color. See, that's the rich color that I was talking about. And notice it all melted back off of the whisk. So I'm going to set this whisk aside. I don't need it. Now we're going to pour the caramel into the glass measuring cup. You can use a bowl or whatever, but you have to use something that's heat resistant. You don't want to burn it. Okay, now I'm going to take and sit this over here in the sink out of the way. I'm just putting a little water in it. That way the caramel doesn't stick too bad. So it won't be so hard for me to clean up. Okay, now we have our caramel sauce. That smells delicious. It really does. Now this is warm enough. This is not going to hurt my counter anymore. That was a bit warm. When I took it out of the oven, it was still warm. So the trick I learned was I'm going to set my cakes over top of my brownies. And so when I drizzle the caramel on it, I won't waste it, because I see that on a lot of cooking shows, you know, where they waste a lot of the caramel or a lot of frosting when they're pouring it over. That kind of bugs me a little bit. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take this fork and poke a couple holes in my cake. That way I can ensure that the caramel will get down into the cake. And I've already sliced the brownies, so that way we can ensure that some of the caramel, oops, I just tore that off of there. That way we can ensure that some of the caramel gets down into the brownies. Now, you see what we're going to do? Let's see, I need to figure out a way so you guys can see me do this here. So we're just going to take it and pour it over the, and I know the caramel is still hot, but the cakes are cool. That is one good thing, that the cakes are already cool. And you notice that the caramel is dripping down on my brownies. It's not wasted on the counter or on a piece of parchment or in a tray. And I'm also going to take and try to cover these cakes a little bit better. Try to make sure they get all sides. So I'm going to have to take this. You know what? This would have been nice for the turntable, except for I wouldn't have been able to get the brownies under the bottom. So now what I'm doing now, I'm just going back and drizzling it on the cakes, making sure I get the cakes full of caramel on all sides. I'm going to have to turn it. Oh, see, that one doesn't have any. Oops, I'm getting messy. It's getting messy. So I need to slow down a little bit. Make sure I get the cakes all filled up. And I also brought a brush in case I need it. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to twist it all around so you guys can see what I'm doing here. I just need to drizzle some more caramel on this side. Make sure that I'm trying to make sure that the whole cakes are covered. So I'm just going to pour some more on the sides. I mean, it's not too sweet. The cake is just a plain cake. It's not nothing fancy cake. One of those little Jiffy cakes, you know. I did that because that way I can make a small amount. I don't have to make as much cake, take up as much room in my freezer. Okay, now I have my pastry brush here, so I can just kind of like fill in. Oh, excuse me. See, I'm filling in on the cakes. Just brushing, making sure the whole thing is covered. Looks nice and pretty. But like I said before, these more than likely are going to go into the freezer for company. I'm really not a sweet fan, but I do like my desserts. Don't get me wrong now. I do like my desserts. But I'm just not a big fan of it. Sweets. I mean, like I said, I do enjoy them. But I can go without sometimes. I'm a carnivore. That's the person that likes a lot of meat. I like my meat. I'm trying to behave a little bit. Trying to eat more salads, more vegetables, more fruit. Okay, now these are almost just perfect. Almost. Ooh, that looks so scrumptious. Deliciosos. It looks delicioso. So I broke one. And I think that might be the one that we are going to taste. Is this one back here that I broke. But I want to show you guys what's been going on in the bottom here. Now, one quick more look at my cakes here. Okay, this one needs a little bit on this side here. Okay, now, cakes are done. The cakes are done. Okay, now, can I move this without it dripping? It's dripping a little bit, but look at that. Isn't that delicious? Doesn't that look good? Doesn't that look delicious? Okay, now, we're going to stand this back up. And what I wanted to show you guys was I didn't waste any. I didn't waste any of the caramel because, as you can see, the caramel dripped down on the brownie. So I have my pastry brush. So I'm just going to take it. I'm just going to take the rest of this caramel and just drizzle it all over the rest of these brownies. That way, my caramel didn't get wasted. It all went down onto the brownies, and that way we have some caramel fudge brownies. And once this set, and you know what? This will go good with some ice cream or some of my pink or my fluff that I like to make. Add some nuts, and let me tell you what, you got a great dessert. Now we have two in one. Doesn't those brownies look good and sticky and delicious? So, like I said, I'm gonna slide this back under here. I'm gonna wipe this counter off, then I'm gonna fork, and I'm gonna get me a taste. Yes, I am. I'm gonna get me a taste of the cake. And I probably did the caramel too. I just want a little bit dripped on here from when I took it from underneath it. Just gonna wipe this counter down. Don't want to mess. Look at that, it's all good. Start the stove off. Okay, rinse off the hand. Okay, do we need a little plate? We need a small plate to get a taste. We have any small plates? Dessert plate. Dessert plate. Now, this is the one I broke. I accidentally had an accident. So, guess what? This is the one we're going to taste. I don't have any fruit or anything to put on it now, but look, doesn't that look delicious? Now, this is the side over here that we broke. And guess what? This is the side we're going to take. And I want you guys to see the inside of there, how moist that is. Look how moist and juicy that is. Very moist cake. That caramel is delicious. It almost reminds me of a Louisiana crunch cake by Entenmann's. And then look, you get a little treat of caramel in the middle. This would be really good with some ice cream or even some whipped cream. That is so good. Now, we didn't taste the brownies, only because they're still a little bit warm. But we all know what the brownies taste like. This tastes delicious right here. This is make a nice picture. Open that up. Isn't that a nice picture? So if you like what you see, thumbs up. If you want more, hit the dinner bell. Comments and suggestions are always welcome. Subscribing is free. Sharing is nice. And I want you to stay safe and positive. And stay tuned with Miss Eslin. Try this because you never know what we're going to try and when we're going to try it. Have a nice day.